Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about a relatively new feature in Azure AD Identity Governance, Terms of Use. I recently had a client ask how they can optimize their process for keeping track of employee and contractor terms of use acceptance. Fortunately, Azure AD recently released a feature to address that specific use case. Let's take a look at what you can do with Azure AD Terms of Use. Below are some common scenarios where you may use Azure AD Terms of Use in your organization. You can do things like require employees or guests to accept your terms of use policy before getting access to your environment. You can present a general terms of use policy for all users in your organization, or you can present specific terms of use policies based on user groups or attributes. You can also display a log of terms of use policy activity for compliance and audit. Since terms of use in Azure AD Identity Governance leverages conditional access for enforcement, you will need a license with Azure AD Premium P1 or P2. To enable and update Azure AD Terms of Use, you will need one of the following roles: Global Administrator, Security Administrator, or Conditional Access Administrator. Now let's take a look at how you can configure Azure AD Terms of Use in Identity Governance in your environment. From the Azure Active Directory portal, select Identity Governance to begin configuring Terms of Use. On the Identity Governance page, select Terms of Use. Here you can see the two terms of use that I previously created. To create a new terms of use, select New Terms from the top of the screen. Here you will enter a name that will be used for administrative purposes in the Azure portal when modifying or updating terms of use. You can upload a terms of use PDF document with the terms of use content from your organization. Select the default language and enter a display name. If you would like to require that users expand and view the terms of use before accepting, toggle the setting here to on. If you would like to require users' consent from every device that they access, toggle the following setting to on. If you would like to expire consents after a certain duration, you can toggle this setting to on and enter the duration before reacceptance is required. To enforce with conditional access, you have the option to create a custom policy or create a conditional access policy later. Now let's take a look at an example of a conditional access policy that is used to enforce terms of use acceptance. Looking at our Endpoint Manager enrollment, we're going to look at the grant controls, and you can see here that we have both of our terms of use created listed as a grant control option. In this example, I'm requiring multi-factor authentication and acceptance of our BYOD policy for Endpoint Manager enrollment. Using multiple conditional access policies and multiple terms of use, you can scope which terms of use policy acceptance is required for certain activities such as high-profile apps or different users in the organization. Navigating back to terms of use in Identity Governance, we can now see who has accepted or declined our terms of use. If we select the Accepted column on this terms of use, we're able to view the activity type, the user, when the terms of use acceptance expired, and which version they accepted. Now let's take a look at the user experience for accepting terms of use. Go ahead and sign in as the following user. Perform our MFA. Now the user will be directed to accept the terms of use, and before accepting, they must view the terms of use per the setting we configured in our policy. So now we'll click on the terms of use, it will display our PDF, and we can scroll down to accept. Once accepting, the user will now be able to get access to our environment. Thank you for taking the time to watch today. I hope this video was helpful and presented some valuable use cases for utilizing Azure AD Terms of Use in your environment. Thank you.